And hello, everybody. This is Phoenix, your Wild Mountain Witch, and I'm happy that you decided to join me. Today, we are going to delve in becoming a witch. And so, those of you who are here today, kudos to you because you are wanting to reclaim the forgotten knowledge. And so today, let's see, just a little bit about my background. In a few months, I'm going to be 60 years old. And I've been on this path for many different lifetimes. And my heritage, I'm half Bohemian, and my ancestors on that side, yes, were gypsies and came over to escape the Czechoslovakian Holocaust, where they killed about 1 million gypsies at the time. The other side of me is Finn, so I'm half Finn and half gypsy. And the Finns, there's a lot of gypsy blood in the Finns. There's gypsy blood everywhere. But the Finns were also, they believed in animism. They both sides of me, big on the Fey realm. The gypsies called them the Bitty Folky. And the Finlanders, they too believed in the small people, the small realm, the flora and fauna realm. And but I've been on this path for many years, and I call it the seeking the forgotten knowledge, because every time we come into another lifetime, we come in with amnesia. And especially if you're coming in as a witchy persuasion, the dark side is going to do whatever they can to stop you. They're going to target you your whole life, and they're going to throw people at you and everything at you to make you feel, make you doubt yourself, make you fall off your path repeatedly, because they don't want people like us on here. Remember the burning times, the Inquisition, just the history of the woman. Now there are male witches too. And, but the women seem to be targeted the most. And so every time we come in a new incarnation, we are trying to get back to where we were before we left the last time. And just imagine how many times have you stood on Gaia and looked up at the full moon? How many lifetimes? How many times have you left your bones in her, in her soil, and then to return again? And but I've been on this path for a long time. I've done it all. But I'd really like if you guys would stick with me, please. I've written 3 books on my journey. And it's taken a lot of years. This one was published in 2012. And so in order to write these kind of books, you have to do the work, you have to live the journey. And I thought it would be really interesting, you guys, because this book is Dragon Horse and Seeker of the Forgotten Knowledge. So the heroine in my story, Cheyenne, is let's see, here in the back. Well, I won't go into there, but what I want to do for you guys, because actually this is about her. This is another lifetime that she's living, and she is hunted. This is ancient times. All people of the witchy persuasion were being hunted. And she didn't realize who she was. So she had to go on this journey to reclaim her forgotten knowledge. And this is about her previous life on Lemuria and Agartha. And so this is about how she realized once again that she was a witch. And she spent most of her younger years curious about these witches and why they were so bad. But she already had it in her. She already was one. But because she started a new lifetime, she had to remember again. So I thought it'd be fun just to read the first couple pages for you guys. And oh, here I'm in chapter 2. I'm looking. This ain't the first chapter. Okay. Chapter 1, the initiation. The black horse stomped impatiently. The rider reined him deeper into the woods to watch the girl undetected as he had done for the past 2 weeks. Soon, boy, soon, the rider said, stroking the horse's large, muscular neck. The sky trembled and the rider looked up at the rolling black clouds, heavy with moisture. For a few moments more, the rider watched the girl dance beneath the threatening sky, then silently turned and rode away. The ground beneath her tiny bare feet vibrated as the sky spirits boomed out their thunderous tones, evoking the wind spirits to awaken. The wind spirits awoke and whirled wildly, awaking the water spirits, who in turn let loose a sheeting fury of rain upon her olive-skinned, slender frame. Go away, fly. She lifted her head, letting the warm liquid slide across her thin pink lips into her mouth, tasting the sweetness. Her eyes burned as the rain seeped beneath her thick black lashes. She rubbed the sting away, recalling the time she had overheard a neighbor telling a friend, "That girl can stop a grown man in his tracks with just one glance of those gypsy eyes. Beware that one, I think she's a witch." Giggling at such a notion, she grabbed her waist-length chocolate black tendrils and lifted them as an offering to the sky gods. "Cleanse my locks and quench my thirst," she chanted, whirling wildly, splashing water up under her rain-soaked skirts. She's barefoot, you guys. We all should be barefoot. The storm made her think of her father's words spoken so long ago. "You were born at the hour of Babol, the spirit of air, my little Cheyenne mandolin. You are a true child of the wind." She fought back tears, remembering the day her father left. She was never told why and only remembered his face. He looked strained and pale as he kissed her goodbye, then turned and walked out of her life forever. Her mother had died giving birth to her, so she had been left with a family in a very small village called Winter Haven of the vast country of Findholland, which was located at the base of the great Winter Wind Mountains. She spent many an hour staring up at them. Sometimes she would see shapes of magical beings like dragons form out of the massive clouds that hung above the mountain peaks. How she longed to leave this place and follow those visions. Windhaven Hill was another village under the guidance of the church, a powerful organization of men who devised yet another way of becoming rich and powerful, forcing the people away from the goddess and into their own houses of God. The churches feared the women of the goddess the most. It was said that 1 out of every 25 held the power of the ancient knowledge of healing and magic. These elite women were called witches, an ancient word meaning wise one. And so the last 500 years had been spent in bloody battle, killing millions of innocent souls branded as witches, and forcing others to die in their holy wars in the name of their one God. The indigenous people had been dealt the worst blow, not wanting to conform to the church's rule. One group of nomadic people called gypsies had been persecuted almost to their very extinction. These people had no choice but to send their wise women into hiding to preserve their culture and beliefs. Cheyenne's sad thoughts were gladly interrupted as she heard a laughter and the sound of hoofbeats approaching. Smiling, she waved at her friend, who rode up on her large brown pony. Cheyenne studied her best friend Kylie, small, blonde, fragile looking, with her usual dark rings beneath blue, thinly lashed eyes. "It's a drencher," yelled Kylie as she slid a little too quickly from the back of her pony. Cheyenne watched with amusement as Kylie's feet made a strange sucking sound when they oozed beneath the thick, dark mud. Little Bob, her horse, not appreciating the situation, evacuated the scene, leaving poor Kylie stranded ankle deep in the mud. "You are a mud puppy," said Cheyenne, laughing so loudly her stomach cramped. Once the twinge passed, she grabbed Kylie's arm to pull her from the gushy brown-green slop. With a groan and a yank, out she came, only to find her boots still in the mud. "Rats, help me get my boots!" Acting quickly, Cheyenne grabbed the hay fork leaning against their barn and fished for the boots. "Catch," she said as she lifted each out and flung them through the air to Kylie. As Kylie struggled with her mud-soaked boots, Cheyenne whistled for her mare. With a whinny in reply, the horse suddenly appeared as if she had come out of thin air. "How did she do that to you?" exclaimed Kylie. "She wasn't anywhere near here a moment ago." "Ah, she's magic," replied Cheyenne as she tried to wring rain out of her long, fiery red mane. "Don't say that word," whispered Kylie, turning her head to see if anyone had been near to hear. "You better not let your guardians hear you talk that way." "I don't care what they think," she snapped. "I can't help how I feel and the strange things that happen to me. I feel like something—" Cheyenne didn't finish her sentence and vaulted onto Faria's wet back and grabbed for mane. She urged her mare into a gallop through the sheeting rain, leaving poor Kylie behind to catch little Bob. Cheyenne's mind raced. Bottled up inside Cheyenne was a strong will crying to be released. She could hear her guarding mother say, "You will bring the magistrate of the church upon us with your notions about the magical world. The goddess is dead." So that's the very beginning of the first chapter of this book. So this is a really interesting story because the story is based on my awakening as a witch and my journey. And it is the journey, you guys. So those of you who are on the path of the witch, it is all about the journey. You are journeying back to remembering that forgotten knowledge. And so many of us want to just wake up one morning and have all of the memories and all of the knowledge and all of the spells and all of the magic, but they want to forsake the journey. And it's funny because in this story, this is a series, Cheyenne she actually runs away and finds a gypsy caravan and befriends the old wise woman. And the wise woman is always telling her, "Cheyenne, it is the journey. The journey is the destination." So welcome to the journey, you guys. And so my journey, how I began. Well, I came into this world still a witch. But because of the way I was brought up, I was born in the 60s, 1961. Back then, that was all taboo, wasn't it? It was still taboo. So I was forced to go to the church. I was forced to do all the church scene. But it was funny because every time I sat in church, I would always say, "There's something else. There's something else. There's something else." And so it was religion that slowed my progress of remembering. It was all that indoctrination, that fear porn that they instilled on us. Everything had the devil in it. You couldn't think for yourself because it wasn't you thinking, it was the devil thinking for you. You couldn't do anything on your own. You had to look up to the pastor of your church. You had to look to the Bible, somebody else's channelings, and you could not come up with your own inner knowledge. You had to always let some higher deity do it for you. You are not permitted to live your own life. So it really, really slowed me, and the fear was the worst of it. I was so afraid of the devil. I mean, the devil was in everything. I said, the worst nightmares every night, nightmares about the devil. But it was really interesting because as I was growing up, I also experienced dream paralysis. And that is a sign for some of us that your intuition is starting to develop. And my growing up years was very, very tough. My parents got divorced when I was 7, and my stepdad was a tyrant. And my mom was weak, and she just did everything that my stepdad told her to do. And we moved a lot. We moved every year we moved, and it got to the point where I just stopped making friends. But it wasn't just because we were moving. I was always different. I had dyslexia in growing up. I had dyslexia, and back then, dyslexia just means that you think differently. You think with a higher dimension frequency. It's hard for you to learn in the 3rd dimension frequency, the way that you're taught in the institution of schools. And so I really had a hard time because they always thought that I was stupid, but actually dyslexia is a gift. You can see multidimensionally. We see in pictures. We don't see the words. We see in pictures, and we can see 250 pictures a second. And so that's how we learn, by seeing the pictures and by hands-on. The church was just forced on me. When I was experiencing the dream paralysis, at first I thought it was demons and devils. And, it's where you're out of your body and you can hear everything around you. You're awake, but your body is still asleep. And, you're out there, you're out of your body, you're out of body experience. And of course I was young, so I had no idea, but it was horrifying. It was terrifying because, I realized that I was, not in my body, and I would try to get in my body, and I couldn't, and I was like paralyzed. I couldn't move, and I couldn't scream and yell. And so through the years, I learned how to control it. I learned how to slow down. I learned, just calm down, Denise. You're just doing dream paralysis. Calm down, breathe, and just go back in your body. And I taught myself that and was able to control it. And I haven't had one for years. I had one really, really bad one. And I thought I was dead because I could not get back in my body, but I had a guide with me. I mean, I was just panicking, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm dead. I'm dead this time. I'm actually dead. And it was black, and it was dark, and it was nothing. And I was thinking, if this is death, this is terrible. And then while I was thinking that, I could feel something soothing me. And it was one of my guides just brushing my hair, calming me down. And then that soothing, that calming me, I went right back into my body. And so that was the last time I had dream paralysis. And I was already on my path. I was already, walking the walk of the witch. But for you, for you, if you're here, it's a time of remembering. You are trying to recapture something that you lost. Curiosity, you have so much curiosity. But it's also a time of reclaiming your power, especially the women. And for you, some of the men too, yes, reclaiming your power. Our power that has been taken away from us from lifetime after next. And, we've had other lifetimes where we've had to go underground and hide our special abilities. And if you know Dolores Cannon, she's the one that first did the past life regressions, and she regressed a lot of witches. And it's always the same thing. The witches, they all came here. You guys, you've all come here to do a job. Your purpose was not just making potions and doing herbal teas and things like that. Your purpose was much deeper than that. It was, you were coming here to help humanity. You were coming here to help Gaia. And the dark side knew this. The controllers of the world, we hear about it all the time. The elites, the cabal, the controllers of the world, the ones that hate people like us because our power is a lot stronger, but they found a way through organized religions to keep us from our powers. So you're here because you want to reclaim your powers once again. You want to step in to who you are once again. And how I started, okay, so as a young child, I loved nature. Me and my best friend loved nature. We were always with our horses. We loved animals. We loved plants. We would lay on the grass and look up at the stars. Nature was the foundation of who we were and returning to becoming the witch. And I'm thinking that light is a little bit is it in the way, you guys? Is that better? No, now we have the other one. Okay, well, whatever. You don't need to see me, right? Okay, so we spent our growing up years, you know, when other girls were out dating, I mean, we were 13 when other girls were out dating boys. We were still playing horses. We were still out in nature. We were still out sliding off the rocks into the rivers, and we were hunting for stones and Indian artifacts. I mean, we were constantly out in nature. So we were different than the other girls, but we were also targeted by the other girls in school. The other girls in school, my best friend went to another school and I went to another. We were like 20 miles apart. And because they could see our light. The girls knew we were different. And so they just hated us. I got along a lot better with the boys. So I hung with the boys when I went through school and in high school. And even to this day, women they see me and right away they judge me and they don't like me. And that's okay. I'm much better off solitary. I'm much better off in nature, baby. And so we have these catalysts. We have our guides, and we have nature, and we have Gaia and the goddess who's always nudging us. You find yourself always being nudged towards this path. For me, even after I did my year and a day training and my initiation, I would walk away from it and I would always be forced back. I would walk away from it and always find myself back. And that's one of the ways you can tell. It's like if you walk away from it and it keeps bringing you back, it keeps bringing you back. That, because there are a lot of dabblers, there are a lot of people who, they're here for all the wrong reasons. And it just never works for them. They end up walking away and they never come back, or they end up with a dark entity attachment, and then they fall deeper and deeper into the darkness, and their life just is nothing but dark. And so the foundation of being a witch is nature, and being in nature and raising your vibration to match the vibration of nature, and working through the heart. And my videos are all about working through the heart. Your heart is where your intuition lies. So when you're a person who naturally has an open heart, your intuition is stronger because your heart, like I said before in my other videos, your heart tells your brain what to do. Your heart has its own brain. Your heart has its own central nervous system. And so those who are naturally have more compassion, we witches are born with more compassion. It's living in this world and it's being targeted that takes that away, that makes it hard to live that way. So that's why we're always striving. We have to work through the heart. In my other videos, some of my videos will show you, you know, how to do that. But the foundation of witchcraft, being a witch, is nature, is this planet. This is why we came here. And there's many facets of witchcraft, I suppose. But it's always nature and it's always healing. And, you know, it's always the curiosity of nature, curiosity of wanting to talk to animals, curiosity of going in the mountains and where I live and finding crystals and finding smoky quartz and finding garnets and you know, turquoise and ametrine and feathers. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a feather. Maybe I need to move over here, huh, guys? I am so sorry. I'm not very good at setting my stage up here, but okay. So, you know that we are the keepers of the feathers. We're fascinated by the occult. You know, we're just curious. That is the main thing. You could be a witch. You're just curious. Darkness doesn't scare you. You could go out in the woods and in the dark and you're not afraid. You have an affinity for the fantasy realm. You love the King Arthur stuff, the Isle of Avalon, all of that. You just curious about Merlin the magician. I think one of the coolest books that I read, it was not over 900 pages, was The Mist of Avalon. Marion Zimmer Bradley wrote a lot of books. Those were the first books I read when I started my path. And Mist of Avalon was the first one. It was about the death of the goddess. And so that would be a good one for you guys. The winter's coming. But you love to read. You find yourself in bookstores. I would rather be in a bookstore than on Amazon. Yes, my books are on Amazon. Sometimes that's how we can get them. But man, when the bookstore, you know, were big, that was so much fun, wasn't it? You could go in a bookstore, you could go into the metaphysical section, and it'd almost be like a book would pop off the shelf at you. You know, it was like, you read this one. You know, you could just feel which book you needed to read. And so read, you guys, read, because like my stories, there's codes, there's energy frequency and energy codes that are in these stories. And so when you read them, it's actually triggering you to remember more. So the biggest part of beginning witchcraft is finding ways to remember who you were, because when you start to remember, you build that confidence to start doing your own spell work. And you coming up with your own spell work is the most powerful thing you can do. But when you work with your spell work, remember to work through the heart. Always connect with your heart first. Always connect with your heart and always be in a state of appreciation and gratitude for this path that you're back on. Appreciation and gratitude for the natural realms and the animals. And so I try as a solitary, even though my path led me to, let me see, interesting story. I'll back up a little bit, you guys, how I got in a coven, okay? I first went through the Reiki. I became a Reiki master. I did all of that training first, all of the New Age light worker Reiki training first, because I was still afraid of any of that other stuff. You know, I wasn't sure really what witchcraft was, but that old religion shit was still kind of ingrained in there, you know. So one day I decided to have a workshop. It was a touch drawing. It was like an expressive arts workshop. And this very interesting woman came to my workshop, and she lived in the same town that I did. And I found out that she was a witch. And my curiosity meter went way up. I was so curious. And so I asked her, I said, if you ever have a circle or something, I would like to attend. I'm really curious about that. And I had to ask her 3 times. It took months before I was able to come to one of their circles. And actually, that was how they test you. If you're not a dabbler, if you're just a dabbler, you wouldn't keep asking. You wouldn't have that push. You wouldn't have that guidance to keep pursuing this path. And so for months and months, I had to, for a while, I was like, ooh, maybe she doesn't like me. I mean, there's, I don't know. But then after the 3rd time and months had gone by, finally, I was able to go to one of their circles. And she said, well, you have to pass the test first. We just don't let anybody in. And we have to make sure this is something that you really want to do. So this is why we make you ask us and seek us out 3 times. And remember, I didn't know these people. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know her. So it took a lot of courage, to keep asking her. So I went through my year and a day training, and the day came, and it was my initiation time. And for that month before my initiation, I could not talk to any of the women in my coven. Silence, no communication whatsoever. So that was a hard month, but it was time for me to do all my own work. And so the night came of my initiation, and she came and got me, and she put a hood over my head, and she bound my hands. And now where we would do our circles, where our coven met, was about 40-minute drive. So there I was, for 40 minutes in the car. And so I had to go with the hood on and my hands bound. And so I got to experience being part of a coven. But I found out that I'm much better as a solitary. I'm much better alone. I don't like the politics. I don't like any of the politics in the witchcraft world. Well, are you Alexandrian? Are you Gardnerian? Are you pagan? Are you Wiccan? I don't care about any of that. I am who I am. I've lived this life lifetimes and lifetimes, and I'm just remembering who I am. And so it's fun at first, while you're remembering, to join some of this stuff, but it's like Reiki. Reiki is just the baseline for doing energy work, and I encourage all of you to learn how to do Reiki. I am a master. I teach Reiki. So I encourage all of you, and an interesting story. The woman who was my catalyst becoming a witch, the one that I first asked, she had an attitude, and she said she thought she was above taking a class and really learning. I can do healing. I don't need to do Reiki. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, go give it. So I don't agree with that. I think you need to be attuned with these symbols. It's handed down, 3,000 years. And she thought she was above that, and she didn't have to do that. And not long after that, she came to me and she says, yeah, I know what you mean. She says, I was working on somebody, and while I was working on that person, I threw my back out. And I said, well, sometimes I can't tell you. Sometimes we have to figure it out for ourselves. So energy work, it's part of being a witch. It's just opening up these streams, we are a vessel, we are a vessel. And I think that's one of the hardest things for a witch to remember is we are more than this physical body. We are not just this vessel. We are not just this avatar. We are much bigger than that. When this avatar expires, we are energy. And so we have the power of how this avatar is going to be at this lifetime. Are we going to age? You know, aging is a program that was handed down to us by the dark that controls the world. They want us to, they don't want they don't want billions and billions and billions and billions of us living a couple hundred years on this planet. They just want us to be here while we're useful and then to expire and be gone and then come back and be useful and make money for them, because, you know, the more money we make for ourselves, the more money we're making for them. So anyways, the dark part is all part of it, guys. I'm sorry, we have to learn about the dark controllers. And so I lost my train of thought. Oh, aging. So we are energy. So we have the energetic power to do magic. We have the energetic power to heal others. But we have to go through the steps. We have to take that journey. No shortcuts. The journey is so much fun. When I took my Reiki classes, I met the coolest women. And for 10 years, we did amazing things together. I mean, we had so much growth. We had the best time. And so there are times when it's good to come out of being solitary and doing things. I do still do the celebrations sometimes with the circles. I don't do the SBATs, and you know, I don't do that with them anymore. I'm much better on my own. And so you can decide, you know, at first it might be fun, you know, but the foundation of being a witch is nature. It's getting your ass out there and experimenting. Go out there on a full moon, lay on the ground. Grounding is so important. Take the damn shoes off, touch the earth. Do that energetic, you know, the negative and positive ion exchange. Get down and dirty. Do a mud ceremony. You know, roll in the mud. Really get to know nature. Get out there and sit with your back against the trees. Grab the leaves of the trees. The bark of the trees, a lot of the trees, the bark is insulating. So a lot of times you have to really talk with the trees. I used to climb in the trees and sit in the trees and talk with the trees. You don't need someone else to tell you how to do this. You just go out and experiment. It's like going to college, you know, they teach you how to pass the tests and how to read the books, but it's up to you to get out there and actually integrate it and become part of that and to really learn, you know. So get out there in nature. Start watching start watching nature around you. Put it out there. I really believe I'm a witch, and I want to remember my past. I want to remember what I used to know. Please, nature, help me. You know, what do you have an affinity for? Are you a bird person? Are you a deer person? Cats? You know, what's up with the good witch? She doesn't have any animals. I'm sorry, I'm spitting all over the place. She doesn't have any animals. What's up with that? I'm a bird person. I'm a horse person. I have 2 horses. I've had horses my whole life. They've been a huge catalyst of my learning. If it wasn't for the horse, I wouldn't be here today. I would have checked out a long time ago. It was one of my horses that taught me about the dragon horse. These animals have so much to teach us. They are, I don't care what anybody says, so many of us are realizing that they are of a higher vibration. how fast Denise can run. I always forget to plug in my computer when I do these things. Oh, well, intermission, right? So the horse, the animals they are here to help us on our journey. They are not just a two-dimensional being. Yes, sometimes they forget, their vibration drops depending on what kind of situation they're in, what kind of a home life they live in. But my horses have taught me how to heal. My first patient was a horse that had cancer, and the vet gave him 8 months to live. And I got brave and knocked on the lady's door and asked her if I could practice on her horse. And a friend of mine came with me, and we got results in a month. I have pictures. One video, I'm going to show you all of this, but we got results in a month. And the woman could not believe it. She said the vet gave him 8 months to live. So we ended up buying this horse from her. And my high priestess saw him, and she said, he's not just a horse, right? She goes, yeah, there's much more there. He was a white wizard. And so animals, you guys, nature, plants. What plants are you connected? What plants, when you think of herbs, which ones do you kind of resonate? You know, we all have our power herbs. My power herbs have always been rosemary and lavender. And so I always have rosemary. Rosemary is a great protection plant. We know that, you know, keep it by your door or whatever. But I work with rosemary and lavender. So figure out, you know, start experimenting with plants. You know, get books. Sure, get books. What I did was I actually took the Sage Woman's Herbal Course, and that's Rosemary Gladstar. You can find her on YouTube, but her herbal science course is called Sage Woman. And so I took that herbal course. So it helped me, you know, it gave me a little bit more guidance. So yes, take an herbal course. Crystals, you know, read books. I have a book that is Melodies, Love is in the Earth. It's the biggest crystal book. I showed it before. I'm going to do a video on my books that I use. But crystals, you know, go in a crystal shop, but be careful, because every time I go in a crystal shop, I get a headache. And it's because all of the energies and a lot of the crystals in the crystal shop, some of them need clearing. So, you know, when you buy a crystal, take it home, clear it, put it in the sun, put it under the full moon, put it in a stream, put it in a bowl of salt, run it underwater, smudge it. I have tuning forks. I use my tuning forks on my crystals. There's so many different ways of clearing your crystals, but start to experiment and, you know, go in the stores and just walk around and just say, hey, I'm open, guide me to what crystals I should be working with. Yeah, there's a lot of videos out there that say which crystals you should be working with. I don't believe in that. I believe you already know, intuitively, you already know. So open yourself up to that. Don't ever doubt yourself. You guys, that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest block of this path when you're beginning, is doubt, self-doubt. That's that dark programming that's stopping you, that's keeping you away from who you truly are. And so I dealt with that for years and years. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Bullshit. You are worthy. And you have no idea the power that you have. And they are so afraid of the power that we have. And so get rid of friends that cause doubt in you. I had to fight my husband when I started my path. I mean, he was dead set against it. And he was being used as a trigger from the dark to stop me. And one day I just told him, you know what? This is who I am. I'm going to stay on this path. If you don't like it, leave. There's the door. And if you leave, it's because you were going to leave anyways. And it's been almost 30 years. He's still here, you know. But yes, sometimes our friends, our family members, sometimes they're triggered by the dark to stop us. They want to put doubt and fear. And, you know, we have to get rid of that fear. We have to get rid of the doubt. So the most powerful witch is the witch that has the confidence. And you cannot do anything wrong. When you are on your path and you are experimenting, what you get, I mean, is what's already been in you. Yes, we say you need to learn to protect yourself. And I did a video, the 6 strongest protection stones that we should have. When you go in the crystal store, you know, you might want to open your, you know, say, talk to your guides and go, hey, is there a stone in here that resonates with my frequency that would be my best protection stone? And if you're not really sure about that, just go to my video, you know, the 6 most strongest crystals for protection. But you'll always want to protect yourself, because there is that dark faction. There's always a balance. Yes, the dark, we are out of balance a little. We are out of balance. The dark has more power than the light. But if we do anything light of the heart, you know they're going to come in and do just as much. And that's just the nature of the beast, you guys. Let's see, what else do I have here? So yeah, a lot of us, we already have these, we've always had a little bit of a psychic abilities. We see things in our dreams, things come to us in our dreams, things would come to me, things would come on when I was on my path. I was being tested. You guys will be tested too. You got, and look at it and go, wow, I'm being tested. All right, all right. Took me a little bit of while to realize I did have the power. Nobody told me I was going to be tested. And so, you know, I would get shadow people come in my dreams. I would get, you know, ghosts come in my dreams. And at first they would scare me, but then I learned that I had the power to kick ass, you guys. And I mean, I would see natural disasters. I'd wake up, the natural disasters would be in my house. You know, before 9/11 hit, everybody was seeing all this fire and smoke and stuff, but they didn't know why. I was seeing it, you know, my poor husband. I mean, oh, you know, but things have slowed down now. I've learned to control that. And the spider, the chimera, the archons, the spider beings, those dark, scary, spidery looking things would come at night. You know, I'd see them on my ceilings and they used to scare me. Not anymore. We're too powerful. We have to learn to raise our vibration, and that's by working through the heart. And so once our vibration is learned and we learn to conquer fear, they go away. They all go away because we pass the test. They can't control us anymore. They don't bother us. It's like, oh, we just laugh at them. I mean, I can go out and clear chemtrails out of the sky now because I know I have the power. I use my heart, and I don't go out there and swear at them and call them names. I just say, hey, Gaia, let's clear the sky. Let's clean the air. Elementals, let's do this. I make orgonite. I have orgonite all over the yard, all over the house. And so it's about you experimenting, but don't dabble. Nature, you guys, when you are starting this path, you need to stay with the nature magic. When you start working with sigils and spells from somebody else, there's so much infiltration out there. The dark has infiltrated everything. And a lot of times you think you got a spell from some very well-meaning good person. You think well, this person's got a lot of subscribers or whatever. they have been infiltrated, and a lot of your spells are going to work against you. They're just going to open you up to the dark. Don't mess with the Ouija board. If it feels dark, if it looks dark, like Cheech and Chong, looks like dog shit, smells like dog shit, yes, it's dog shit. You start feeling, you guys. It's all about emotions. It's about feeling. I mean, I'm giving you guys the foundation. This is where you need to start. It's all about you. It's all about you, what you feel, what you see, what you smell, what you taste. It's about developing what is already in you guys. And so read books. Solitary Witch, Silver Raven Wolf, Solitary Witch. That book is about that thick. Get her book, read her book. Cunningham is another one. You can read Cunningham. You know, I'll put a couple of books in the description, but I'm going to do a video too. But whenever you go and you look for things that give you that heart feeling, that good feeling. If you're looking at something and if you're reading something and it just makes you feel kind of like, ooh, it's telling you something. Your heart is telling you something. You have to learn how to be guided by your heart, not your head, not your eyes. Okay, the reason I say that is because Heart Math Institute did a study. They put people, and I said this before in another of my videos, put people in front of computers, hooked them up to heart monitors, random pictures flashing on the computers, scary, horrible pictures, puppy kitty pictures, nice pictures. The person didn't know when the scary picture was going to come flashing on the screen. And through the heart monitors, Heart Math scientifically found out, the heart responded before the eye saw the picture. The heart knows intuitively what's going to come next. So the more you work with your heart, the stronger your intuition is going to be. Your heart, I can't stress this enough, your heart and nature is the foundation of being a wild witch. Okay? Your heart, always work through the heart. It keeps your vibration up and it keeps the dark attachments away. It keeps you protected. Let's see, what else do I got here? So yeah, there is false light. There's the dark has infiltrated everything. So, you know, you have to be careful, you know, when you're a beginner. I try to stay in nature, try to stay away from all the dark, scary, creepy stuff. The Aleister Crowley crap, you know, that man could summon demons. You don't want to summon demons unless you're really good at it and you just feel like going out there and kicking ass, you know. Hey, any of you guys watch that show on Netflix, Lucifer? That show cracks me up, doesn't it? Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. So anyways, you know, I'm not afraid of Lucifer. I was when I was in church, because they programmed me to live in fear. They programmed me to think I had no power. They programmed me to think I'm not worthy. I am nothing. I have to look up for everything. I have to look to others for the help when it's all inside of me. And so my journey was all about that, you know, working in nature, being outside, working with crystals, talking to crystals, experimenting with crystals. And I'll tell you what, the biggest journey for me was writing these books. because a lot of this stuff I was channeling, I was getting from my guides. And so, you know, if you resonate with what I say and what I'm talking about, you know, the curiosity is such a huge part. I'm so curious. Um, but just, you know, keep that doubt away. We have to learn to keep that doubt away. Um, and there is there is a movement going on right now where the witch is starting to evolve. All beings on this planet are evolving. We're going through an ascension process where this planet is a 3D planet and she is evolving to a 5D planet. And the fifth dimension is the frequency of love. And that's why it is more important now for us to be with that. If we're going to evolve with this planet into a better world where it's like stepping into Rivendell, stepping into a fantasy novel, a beautiful fantasy novel, we have to realize that's what's going on. That's what's been going on. That's why we've been coming here lifetime after lifetime. We came here to help Gaia ascend. We came here to ascend ourselves from 3D to 5D. And what we're trying to do is we're actually trying to change the vibration of this avatar. We're trying to change, we're trying to raise the vibration of this 3D avatar to match the frequency of 5D so we can take our body with us this time to defeat the dark so we don't have to die a physical death anymore. And there's so many videos out there. Just do videos on ascending to 5D, videos on how to raise my vibration. I mean, quickly, there's so many ways you can raise your vibration. Be careful what kind of music you listen to. If you listen to music and all it wants to make you do is go out and party and destroy things and be destructive and fight, if it gets those hackles up, don't listen to it. Listen to music that's 432 hertz. There's plenty of it out there. Change your diet, guys. There's a huge vegan movement going on. There's so many of us that are vegan or going vegan, and explore that. Because what happens is when you stop eating the suffering and pain that another being has endured to feed you, your vibration naturally starts to rise. So by consuming something that's lived in a factory, that's suffered, that's never seen the light of day, that's been sick, that's been force-fed things it didn't want, that's been injected with vaccines, that's been shown no love, no mercy, and then in the very end died a horrific death. That vibration is in that meat, that dead, decaying meat. And so when you ingest that, you are ingesting that vibration. It's all frequency, guys. Like I said before, we are not this. We are energy. We are frequency. And we're trying to raise our frequency so we can enhance our abilities and work more through the heart, work more through love. And so when we eat some other being that was killed against its will, and we ingest that frequency, that cell memory frequency that's in that meat, it also causes us to keep our vibration lowered. And that's one of the best reasons. And so when we do that, we start to develop our empathy, and we start to live in harmony. We start to appreciate and we are in more gratitude. And so this might bore you guys, but this is the journey. It's the journey. It's the journey of how you live. It's the journey of how you treat others. It's the journey of how you want to be treated. And it's much more than doing spell work and you know, trying to wow others. Oh, look what I can do. A lot of that is Hollywood. A lot of that is Hollywood. And a lot of that was meant to deter the young people, because when you really go out and start living this, you find that it's really not like Hollywood, and a lot of you fall away. Well, I can't be like Harry Potter, you know. Well, then maybe you should be reading the book Mists of Avalon instead. You know, it's fun to go out and get your tools, but your tools are just an extension of what's already within you. Wands are just an extension of the magic and the energy and the power that's already within you. Okay? It is not your power, your energy. Crystals are just amplifiers. They just amplify the energy that they carry. So if you're looking to work more with the heart, you're going to look for a crystal that's green, because the heart chakra is green. So you want to go and learn about your chakras, your energy centers. What does each one of your energy centers signify? What does it control? What happens to you if it's out of balance? What happens if, you know, it's shut down? What crystal resonates with the chakra? What chakra does this? How does the heart chakra define my personality? And so when you start to learn about chakras, then you'll learn more about crystals. Oh, you know, I want to open my third eye. Okay, so I'm going to need this color crystal. I, you know, want to raise my Kundalini. I need to work with this crystal. But it's doing the work. You know, it's doing the work. It's study. It's a study. It's a lifetime study. We're constantly learning. It's not that one day you wake up and you're a witch and the next year, hey, I got it all. I've been at this for lifetimes, and I'll be 60 in a couple months, and I'm still learning. And it's learning about yourself. It's learning about who you are. It's learning about it's about being in service to others. If you're in service to yourself, if you're doing magic just for yourself, you're not a wild witch. I'm sorry. End of story. The wild witch is here in service to others. She's in service to this planet. She's in service to the natural realms. So you need to find something that you want to be in service for. And you can stop listening, that's fine, but one day you will realize that after years have gone by and you've gone nowhere, and you attract nothing but dark magic. And so it's all about that, guys. It's all about that. And so that's a little bit about becoming a witch, the beginnings of a witch, you know, the catalysts that will hit you, the people that will come to you, maybe the dreams you'll have. You'll find yourself, you know, constantly walking in crystal stores. You'll find yourself constantly wanting to be in nature, you know, all of those things. It's, and not having fear. You're kind of like, kind of a little bit of a badass. You know, you don't like authority. You know, people can't tell you how, they just can't tell you how you're supposed to live. You know, the more they tell you how you're supposed to live and think, the less you want to be with them. You know, we are a little bit of a badass, but, you know, we have big hearts, because that's where our power is. That's where our strongest power is. Okay, you guys? So go watch my other videos and pick up a little bit more information. I'm going to be doing more videos. This is a brand new channel. I've been too busy writing my books, and I'm still finishing the third book to this series. I need to do the second book to this series, you know, but protect yourself, stay in nature, work through the heart. Do not let anything put doubt and fear in you. Because if they do walk away, you don't need those people. You don't need that kind of teaching. Okay, guys? It's that simple, really. It's all about, those principles, taking those principles and then going out in nature and doing it and living it and experimenting. Leave the high magic stuff alone. Let that evolve. Let yourself get a foundation, a strong foundation first, a foundation of who you truly are, a foundation of bringing out your power, not somebody else's power. Okay, guys? That's all I got for you today. It's probably been long enough anyways. All right. We'll see you soon.